art has been my first love. My dad has pictures of me when I was a wee babe, literally drawing comic books, like 5 or 6, just telling stories even then, coming up with characters, reading books out loud on tape, recording myself on tape. Like it was just innate desire that I had to perform or showcase art. And so I went entrepreneurial with that, and I started the Chalk Chica back in 2010. And prior to that, during the Great Recession in 2008, I had my art business, my first art business, where I was doing murals and children's book illustrations. And then I kind of found my stride with chalk art specifically. And so I shut that aspect of the business down, focused and rebranded, became the Chalk Chica. And that, similar to pageantry, exploded so many doors and gave me so many opportunities to network.
Hello, and we're back with another episode of the T. Smith Experience, Too Skilled to Fail podcast. As you know, I'm your host, Tanisha Smith. I'm here with Miss Dania Denise. Dania is a pageant director. She is an artist. She is an actress. She is a director. She is a producer. I'm tired of talking already, but you got a long list. Here we go. She is
the list ahead of time.
Right. No, we know this. She is so many things, but that's okay. This is what I want to do. I want to give us and get it to a point to where you are engaging with the audience directly, just kind of telling what you do along the way as we talk. So this is perfect. This part, actually, as my team knows, I like this stuff to stay in right here. It is not canned. My show is not canned. I started off doing scripts and kind of reading a script and kind of get everything out. And I was like, no, let it be natural. Let it go natural, and let's see how that goes. And so we're going to go with it. So Dania Denise, thank you so much for being on the show. This is one of the shows that I've been wanting to have for so long. And I'll tell you throughout this conversation little tidbits of why, but we'll go with that. Please introduce, and I'll start that over. Please introduce yourself to the audience.
Hey, everybody. I'm Dania Denise, and I'm a multi-hyphenate. That's just been honestly the easiest way I can encompass everything that I do, because I've been very blessed to have skill sets in a bunch of different industries, and they all somehow work cohesively together. So definitely entrepreneurial minded. Love being my own boss. I love powering the teams that I work with, and just honestly being an overall storyteller and helping people tell their stories too. So that includes pageantry, being a coach, helping young ladies and some guys. I do coach guys too, but helping people who want to be in that industry bring out the best in themselves. I thrive and get high off of other people's accomplishments and seeing them grow into themselves. It's a journey that I've had a chance to experience and live it. And I know how rewarding, fulfilling it can be to walk in your purpose and identify your purpose. So when I tell stories, when I coach people, when people trust chapters of their lives and experiences with me, I mean, it just doesn't get better than that. And you and I have history, and we've been able to be a force in each other's lives and continue to champion each other. And I do remember those conversations where you were talking about this project and other projects, and to just see how far you've come, and you're already doing it. Okay. Like you're already life goals by the time I met you, and to just see you continue to strive, continue to evolve. You're my happy place. Like this is everything to me, having this opportunity to talk to you and your audience.
Thank you so much. There's so many different things that you can offer to this audience, but I want to say that I can say forefront number one, because I got to experience those. So I'm going to tell you backstory of how we met. Someone goes, tell me if you met in high school. Tell me if we met. I was struggling actress, trying to be an actress plus a full-time mom of 5 kids and a wife. And there were so many different things that I wanted to do at one time. And for whatever reason, I stumbled across a ad. It was I want to say Essence. No. Was it Jet Magazine? No. What magazine were you in? You were in a magazine, Jet Beauty of the Week.
I was a Jet Beauty of the Week.
It was Jet Beauty. There we go. I had to get it because I was going to get it. Jet Beauty of the Week magazine. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is someone. And we hear these stories. Someone who looks like me in the sense of a woman of color who looks like me, who's in this magazine. It did say that you were from the Bay Area. It said something to where I didn't feel like you were so far away. And I shot my shot. I shot my shot. However we want to say that, it shot out. I shot my shot, and I reached out to you, and I said, I probably sent this long email back then because our email was available to contact her. I sent you this long email and just said, this is what I'm looking to do. I would love to connect with you. And I do this all the time now, naturally, but that was literally the first time I had ever shot my shot with a stranger in that area and on a business side, other than applying for a regular job that was posted. But this was not a job. This was just you or someone, a figure, and I wanted to get to know you. And I was like, I'm going to reach out and see what happens. And long and behold, this was my pen pal audience. This is my pen pal for a while. And we just emailed back and forth. It took
Yeah.
years for us to finally meet. We met at a premiere because I was acting in a short film for someone's college project, and
Yeah.
Dania was acting in a film. And we meet each other by chance, not even reaching out to each other. And we're both in the audience for that a premiere. So that's our backstory, how we got to know each other. And we
The
just kept
universe.
Yes, we kept in contact ever since then. And then flash forward a little bit more. And one of the things I want to talk about is pageantry. You mentioned it, you being a part of, you had actually posted things about pageantry. And for me, I was very defeated. And we talked about it really quickly right before I started this. I was really defeated because I was in pageantry when I was a kid. So 14, I did my first pageant, but by 16, I had my first child. And so that's frowned upon, as you will know, in that industry, to be a teenage pregnant person and trying to be in a pageant to represent young girls. That's not, it just didn't make sense. And even, I'm going to be honest, me where I stand right now, do I disagree with that? I absolutely do not. I totally agree with that. That's not, the essence of what the pageantry is about. It's about promoting and supporting, and we can do that with, of course, anyone. The ideal to have a 16-year-old parent be a pageant, reigning pageant, it just doesn't make sense. And so I appreciate you putting the pageant on that you did. So I would love to kind of graze there, because you were director of that pageant and did so well, a director, and then hosted the pageant as well, so eloquently.
Yeah, always having to wear the hats, even with that, because it wasn't so much that, I have trust issues, I have control issues. I'm type A. I just know how things should be done. I see the vision, and I very much want to deliver on that. And if I don't have certain individuals that I feel can really step up to the plate, then I have no problem taking that on, as long as it's a lane that I know I'm proficient in. If not, I will find the right person. So, when you start with anything from scratch, you really have to just work with what you have. And I did have a great team with me in the beginning when we started this journey, but I didn't have a full team. So I had the people that I had, and it worked, and we made it work. But it did help that I have hosting experience. It does help that I'm an actor. Like, all of these things that I naturally was gifted and fortunate to pursue professionally played and paid the dividends. And I was able to deliver in those opportunities where all of those skill sets came together great. But I do have a lot of gratitude for pageantry in general, because it was unexpected. It was not planned. I wasn't a toddlers and tiaras girl that grew up competing. It was not on my radar until my best friend, everyone has this best friend, guy or girl, whatever you identify as, who is just enamored with pageants, watches it every year, calls out who the winners are. And that was my best friend, Paris Case Watson. Paris Vapaye Watson, excuse me, he has rebranded. So he is actually the current reigning, he's giving up his title later this year, actually. He's the current Mr. US United. He was representing Hawaii. So early on in high school, he was the one who was asking all of his female friends, can you please just do a pageant? I want to coach you. I watch Miss Universe and Miss USA every year. I love this and I want to do it. He's the reason pageants are even in my vocabulary. So I had no idea where I would end up with that journey. I didn't have delusions of grandeur. I'm going to be Miss America, Miss USA. That wasn't really a dream. It wasn't something that I know pageants existed. Absolutely. Did I watch them for fun from time to time? But it really wasn't on my radar. And it wasn't until I competed and got the experience and caught we bought the pageant bug all the time. And it just stuck with me. And I would shoot my shot a couple times throughout the years. And I didn't really know what to expect if I was going to win. I just knew that with each experience, I got better and I could do better. And then I kind of was just like, all right, I've done a couple local ones. I didn't place. I didn't win. It's fine. I came away with it with good experiences, good interview skills, all the things that really make for an upstanding young woman who's trying to put herself out professionally. And so I took a break from it for a while, didn't think much of it. And then I did Miss California USA back in the day in 2008 for the 2009 year. And that was the biggest stage I'd been on at that time, because that was a huge state pageant. And Kenya Moore of the Real Housewives was my judge. That was wild, because that was obviously well before that, but she was still Miss USA. So she was still already there, at that time. So that was wild to have someone of that caliber who reached out to me after I competed. Like, she actually had to cite a couple people because they weren't trying to give out people's personal information. And she reached out and was like, I definitely was rooting for you and all the girls that looked like you. She was like, I was very, very happy to see you to all be in this pageant. And so it just gave me so many interesting experiences. But where I really found my stride was being part of the USA Petite. It's been rebranded to be Petite USA now, but my day, it was USA Petite. So that's how I'll refer to it respectfully. And I'm so sad that so many of your audience may not even know that reference, but a lot of them I hope do.
Yes.
So
we'll tag the right people.
We'll tag the right people. They'll get it. It's fine. But yeah, I had taken a break because I aged out, because you were too old to be in pageants at the time. I think 25, 24
26.
was,
yeah, something like that.
26 was like really the maximum.
That's your last year. That's your last month. Yeah.
I wasn't even 30 yet, but I certainly wasn't 24, 25, 26. So I was like, all right, I guess this isn't for me anymore, because that's what they say. And I went on with my life and it was fine. And then I started coaching younger people, acting, modeling, pageants. And after a few years of doing that and being successful with it and having some local titles, some people that I was coaching were winning. And I just thought, it's been a couple of years. Maybe the world's opened up a little bit. Let me see. I've got the bug. I would love to try again now that I have more knowledge and that I've been coaching, and I want to put that onto myself and practice what I preach and see what happens. And I just Googled pageants and I came across the USA Petite system, which was for shorter women, 5, 6 and shorter. And they had a Ms. division, which completely opened up the length of time that I actually had a window to compete, which was refreshing. So I was appointed because they didn't have a local competition in California, and flew to Florida, won. What? Like, what? And that really just sparked my love for what pageantry does as a platform and as a vehicle for women of all ages. And to see it being brought to life, Mrs., Ms., Miss Teen, all collectively, all together, all of us had the same short girl problems. Like, it was that representation is so at the forefront for me in any industry, is representation. And to find that in pageantry was a joy. And I just wanted to give that to more women. And so that's when I took on the mantle of state director. And I said, of all states, California's got to have a state pageant. You come on. And so that's where we ended up, reuniting.
Reunited. And that was like our first time really kicking off and working together, because part of it, you were coaching. So you were directing, coaching. I forgot to add that part to hosting, directing, coaching, in that you're taking the time out to actually really coach your girls and women, if I may, to be the best they could be in the pageant and bring out the best. One of the things that I remember the most, and I'll forever remember this, and I can't wait for my opportunity to say it to a group of women who just made doubt themselves, or person that made themselves. You said, we're in the backstage, we're getting all ready, and you're like, okay, and we're going to go on, this time we're going to do this. And then you calmed your entire body, soul, lips, eyebrows, everything. And I think you probably remember what you said, but you said, most importantly, breathe. While I was like, and granted, that was an appointed one for me as well. That first one I was in, it didn't matter. It still was me putting myself out there for the first time after not being eligible even to be a part of the pageant system. The first time I'm probably touching 40 if I'm not 40 at the time. I can't remember. I think it was over 40. Yes, it was, I don't know, close to it. It was up there. And I was like, I'm going to do this and put my best foot forward. But he said, just remember to breathe. And I think that just, okay, and it wasn't just the words, it was you letting down and just letting your guard down, because again, you were about to wear a huge hat too, to have to be on the stage. And again, this is your pageant. You're the director of this. You have an audience that are looking at you to make sure this goes well and it looks clean and professional. And so other people will want to be a part of it. And so that was one of the things I was like, I'm just going to remind people that, like, when it's all crazy, and I've done fashion shows and been a part of putting on the fashion shows and doing events. And as you know, that's crazy. It's pandemonium in the back. So it makes sense when people come out there and they trip, because the adrenaline in their body is so much because of what goes on in the back. For them to trip after 15, 20 steps makes sense to me all the time. Like, of course, they probably weren't really grounded. They probably just rushed out there, slowed down, and then went back out. So I totally get those things for all the backstage things. I learned so much in just getting back in the pageant system. I tried it again, kind of got into it. I thought about it when I moved here to Vegas and was going to be a part of the pageant. You got to be in touch with someone that and coach someone that where I couldn't be a part of that pageant here in Las Vegas. When I got here, the Women of Vegas or Lady of Vegas pageantry, and I was really into it. They have stopped the pageant, and so that kind of was, I don't know if I'll do it again. Maybe I'll do it again, because for me, what pageantry gave me was the confidence. It was I can do this. And this is something that when I went and did my first pageant at 14, it came with a lot of different learning filming process. They had a fashion show with it, and that's all, great. They also had an etiquette class for 14-year, right? Very fancy. Had never been to a fancy restaurant. I think Denny's was the fanciest restaurant I had ever been to at that point in my life. But
Right.
now you're
14.
at a fancy restaurant in Old Town Sacramento. They're putting a napkin wipe on your lap when you walk by. I don't know anything of such at this point. And I really, from that point on, I was like, I really like whatever this is. I like it. I always wanted to do like the, what is it? The women, 14, they're 14. So
Like the debutante ball type
debutante
thing.
balls. Yes. Like,
Always looks so fun to me.
oh my gosh, I would love to be on that level. So now I'll just volunteer. So if anyone's doing a ball, I'll
Yep.
volunteer.
There we go. Manifest.
There we
Manifest.
go. Okay, again, pageantry, we can talk about all day because there's so much to it, but
Yeah.
you're doing so much great stuff. Artist wise, I mean, you having the artist, I think your artistry, and you can kind of explain your artistry, but with your artistry, you have that, I think that is just that creative mind that you're able to draw something on a wall, a mural, or whatever you do artist wise, and take that and put it into film. So you have a film production company that I remember you talking about years ago. And I
Yeah.
told my partner, I let him know, I was like, she's doing it. Oh my gosh, she's actually doing it. Because in my mind, I'm like, there's so much. Like right now behind the scene, there's so much going on that took me so long to get done by myself. Right. But you actually have the production team and going on and doing short films and things like that. And you've been successful with it, putting your films into a lot of the film festivals. And so that to me is of interest. And if my audience knows me and they're like me, most of my audience are like me, they love things like that. I want you to kind of tap on that. Absolutely. Get all into that actually.
Yeah. So as far as to speak to the artist part of it, art has been my first love. My dad has pictures of me when I was a wee babe, literally drawing comic books, like 5 or 6, just telling stories even then, coming up with characters, reading books out loud on tape, recording myself on tape. Like it was just innate desire that I had to perform or showcase art. And so I went entrepreneurial with that and I started the Chalk Chica back in 2010. And prior to that, during the Great Recession in 2008, I had my art business, my first art business, where I was doing murals and children's book illustrations. And then I kind of found my stride with chalk art specifically. And so I shut that aspect of the business down, focused and rebranded, became the Chalk Chica. And that, similar to pageantry, exploded so many doors and gave me so many opportunities to network. I have been very fortunate to work with Nike, Phil's Coffee, Starbucks, football teams. Like there are just all these different types of entities that were able to take chalk art as a medium and go, this is our vision. Can you make it come true for us? And so I was, also working with couples doing weddings and mom and pop stores, of course, the restaurants, but definitely just trade shows where I was getting flown out of state to do chalk art live on a board, creating, within a designated amount of time and having people come up to me and ask me questions. And so being able to thrive in my art and get paid very, very well for it was a huge triumph for me in terms of my branding and my self-worth. Because when you first start out in any business, especially as an independent contractor where you have no PPO, you don't really have a 401k, you don't have the safety net and the security of an employer. So you are your employer. And when I was able to make the money I was making and afford these opportunities. And I would have parents come up to me as I'm working and doing like a chalk mural, for example. And they're like, is this what you do full time? Is this your real job? Is this a career? Or you get paid? You get paid well? And I answer all the questions and they go, okay, well, I have a kid. They love to draw. Like they're an artist. And I said, champion them. I know it's scary. I don't have children, but there's a certain common sense to being a parent or parental. And I've raised people my whole life. A whole other story. But I have that innate sense of champion your kid. Don't stifle the creativity, whether they want to be an actor or a model or an artist, painter, whatever that looks like. Nurture that, but also get them into the business sense of things. They have to have both. You can't just be an artsy fartsy. If you are, all respect to you, I can't roll like that. I have contracts. I talk about deposits. I can talk business because I am a business. And I think that's one of the reasons why so many big brands, including mom and pops, would work with me because they go, okay, well, you're just not going to disappear because you want to do a different project one day or you want to go surf and go on a meditation retreat and do art somewhere else. I'm a business-minded artist.
Right. This is what you do.
You have to ground your kids in knowing the basics of how to run themselves as a business, and that will help them be successful as an artist. So it has to coexist. So having that opportunity to use those as teaching moments to show that art can be life and be sustainable was really great. And then to segue into the film stuff, I've always been a writer. I wrote poetry when I was in middle school and had so much angst because everything was, oh my God, gosh, first world problem, serious. And then I love writing short stories, and I have chapters of books that I'm currently working on that I'm like, I'm going to write this book. It's going to happen. And with the film stuff, it went hand in hand with being in front of the camera. I grew up in front of a camera. I've been in front of the camera for almost 30 years. It's my home. I'm so comfortable. I have a connection with the people that make the magic happen behind the sets. I always joke, I'm obsessed. I'm in love with my crew. I'm in love with my cast. I am, because they're my family. These are people who understand the struggle. They understand what it took to get there. We have an appreciation for each other that you can only understand if you're another creative who's really been through the trenches, to say, I can't do the 9 to 5. I don't knock people who do it, but that's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
Could I be safe? Sure, I'll be safe, but I'm not going to live in a fulfilling life. And I just couldn't sacrifice that part of myself. I tried in corporate America. I did. And I got laid off. And there were just signs there, that this is not where you belong. I'll play one on TV. I got business suits because I'm an actor. That's you. Not because I do.
She will put on a business suit every time, but take it right off, right as soon
you,
as the cut. And
I'm telling you, so method. And so when the pandemic hit, that again, we make choices every day. And there's so many times when we say, I coulda, shoulda, woulda. And 2019 was the year that lost my father. 3 months later, I lost my brother. I was in the most toxic relationship. I didn't know what color the sky was. I was not well. And when the pandemic hit, on top of that, it's just like, oh my gosh, the world, as far as we knew, the world was falling apart. The world was falling down. We didn't know what the heck was going on, right? And I got myself out of that bad situation, and I was healing, and I was by myself because we were sheltering in place at the time. And the first thing that happened was, I have stories to tell. And I had these experiences doing indie film, shooting on smartphones, working with fellow actors and filmmakers prior to the pandemic, and having those takeaways and going, actually, I think I could be a good director. I'd never thought about really directing seriously. I had a bit of experience, but it was very intimidating at the time. But then I went, no, I have a vision of what I want to do. And I think I want to have a production company. I want to be a filmmaker. I want to tell stories that are important to me, that I think other people will appreciate. I want to tell other people's stories that I find fascinating, but I want to do it right. And I want to do it my type A way. I know that there is a protocol for creating a story, having a team put together, executing it, and putting it out into the world. I can do this. I've been doing it my whole life in a certain capacity, but now I want to be in charge of things, and I want to give back and pay it forward and empower the people that I just really respect and admire and are so talented. And so when I took that time during the pandemic, build the website, to start building the content, to start crafting my brand and what I really wanted to stand for and how I wanted to be different, being relatively unknown, right? I have experience, but you're not going to necessarily see my name. I'm not a name actor. Like, I'm very aware and very humble about my space in the hierarchy. Not there yet. Keyword is yet, but I know I'm getting there and I'm going to get there. But in the meantime, I wanted people to know exactly who I was, even if they'd never met. And so when I started Runaway Mill Productions LLC in April of 2021, I hit the ground running. I started the Film Speak series, just short 1-minute sound bites, me candidly responding to various quotes from different people in the film industry. And I just felt like, okay, this is a way to create constant content, quick sound bites episodes, and allow people to kind of see how my brain works and how I roll and what it's like to want to work with me or what you're going to get. You can see stuff on paper and it's different in real life. I want to show that consistency. I want to show that authenticity and that I have not changed, right? We always kind of joke, oh, the little people. There are no little people, except the ones that get in my way. Could you
just move? Yeah.
Like, no, I don't have any plans to be a different person. I like the person I'm growing and evolving into. I want to continue to be a better person. I want to continue to lead with empathy. I want to continue to lead with passion and seeing people and hearing people. I think a lot of the polarization that's happening in the world is because people don't feel heard. And it's just noise, it's white noise of social media and the internet.
I also, to add to that though, it's not just people they don't feel like, so many people need to be heard now. We have such a huge, that's what I'm going to add to that, because I think that clouds it as well. So many people want to be heard. So many people have a point. So many people have their views, and they're expressing them. We never had a news like platform to where we can go and report out on news. Before, you had to go and watch the news and just talk about it at home or talk about it with someone. But now we have a platform where you could be an entire news anchor if you know all the local news. If you're that nosy, if you dig enough and dig deep enough. I probably watch more local updates and and people talking about what's happening than I do the actual news station, the
Right.
legit news station, honestly, because it's local on the ground and it's localized and it usually things of interest to me. Versus we found a bird's nest and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, and then next in the
Then
news, we're going to talk about this. Yeah, this tractor turned over.
Right. Like, what is happening? If it bleeds, it leads. Like, let's stop. Yeah, no, 100%. And I feel like it's a great time to be a storyteller because everybody's voices are now amplified in a certain way. And I knew how I wanted to use mine. So having the artistic, creative side of me and putting that into film has just been the perfect equation that just makes sense to me. I see things in stories. I see things in the edit because I'm an editor as well. And I see life so theatrically sometimes where you can't help but laugh because it's ridiculous. What's going on up here? It's insane.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. What I do is so much fun.
I've had the wonderful opportunity, thanks to you, to do the Napa Valley Film Festival when they were doing that festival. And one of the things that I got to do, as you know, is interview the directors, the cast, people from the crew production team. From that, after they finished the film, you are now that person. You are now the William Fichtner that I got to interview. So, and I was so excited to interview him. You are now the William Fichtner. Your first debut, directorial, let's say that right, directorial debut. What was that like to put that out there, to put it into a film festival, to sit in that audience and be the people that you and I both got to interview at some point in time?
It was surreally satisfying. It was surreal, but it was satisfying because you think and you plan and you hope and you dream for so long. And you almost aren't ever really prepared for when it actually happens. So when it does, you're just sitting there going, I want to soak in every second. I want to memorize every single thing about this experience. I'm looking around like a weirdo because I want to remember this for the rest of my life. And this is never going to happen this exact same way again. You only get your first once, right? So for me, that experience, because even though, yes, I'd done short films and things like that, to be honest, the first time I actually saw something that I did screen in a festival, it was in New Jersey, of all places. It was the proof of concept film trailer for my feature drama called You Were Just Here, which is a love letter to my father, who I lost in 2019. And I sent that and the screenplay out onto the film festival circuit. Didn't know where it was going to get accepted, but I put it out there. And that was the first one that I got accepted into, was the Lovesick Film Festival in New Jersey. But it was the first screening that I had gotten where they're like, yeah, we're going to show your film trailer. I told myself when I was submitting, I said, whatever the first one is, granted, maybe it was another country, I don't know. But I was like, whatever that first one is, I have to do whatever it takes to make it. That was a goal that I gave myself. I want to be in that theater or whatever the venue is when it's screened for the very first time. And I made good on that promise. I booked a ticket. I went out there for the weekend, and it's a much smaller, intimate venue, which I like. And I was able to really get up and close personal with the other filmmakers and talk to the people who own the venue. I ended up winning best short film, even though it was a trailer, but like I won something and I had a trophy. And it's just all these things I just wasn't expecting. I was just excited to be there. Right. And I remember stepping outside after the event was wrapping up, and I was like, okay, I'm going to catch a lift to my hotel. But I, walked out, and I remember it was about probably 10:30 at night. There was people out and about. The weather was great, and it was dark, but everything was illuminated. And I remember I just stood there and I just looked up at the sky and I just went, wow, that just happened. Yeah. And I wasn't able to bring anybody with me, but it was mine. That moment was just for me. And I will never forget. That's a memory that will live to my last breath. And I'm so thankful. And of course, I've been in bigger venues since then. I've been fortunate to have one of my shorts, Yvonne Speaks, get its USA premiere in New York at the Chelsea Film Festival in an AMC theater. And then we had the West Coast premiere at the Burbank International Film Festival. I think it was a year ago, last year, maybe. Yeah, last year. And we were able to have a majority of our cast and crew come there. And it was the first time we got the red carpet treatment. They were interviewed by paparazzi and the media. They were able to see themselves on the screen. And for a couple of my actors, that was their first time actually seeing something they've done on a big screen in a legitimate AMC theater. And some of them were close to tears because And to know that I was part of that, it wasn't all me, it was my team, but to know that I played a part in that, that they were able to feel what I felt when I was in New Jersey. I'm honestly not trying to cut.
Right.
This is our passion. Like when you love something so much and it is in your blood, and
Hmm.
you would die doing this art before you would give up to do something else that's not meant for you. I wish that on every person in this world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We strive to have those moments and to see it through someone else's, your vision coming through someone else's eyes. Or for
Yes.
you, the film about your father and being able to see that in other people to feel that through you. And that's another thing. That's another ode to him, a gift to him for you to
Mm-hmm.
give that up and you being outside and having that moment. I just actually replayed that and in my mind it was like another film. It was a
Exactly,
film
right?
for you
Again,
to
it's
do this.
always
It was
cinematic
the
with me.
behind the scenes. It was like you traveling for your first film. So add that to one of your films one day. But
Yeah.
I saw that actually visualizing happen because, as you know, my creative is a huge part of my background upbringing.
Yes.
I had to put a lot of my goals and wishes and loves to the back burner because of, again, I never can let up on it because I was a
Mm-hmm.
young parent. I put a lot of
Yeah.
things aside and basically said, I'm going to wait for later, or I forgot about them altogether.
Yeah.
So to be
Like,
able to get into a pageant, to get, again, to be able to get into fashion shows. And at first I was just working them. I was in them, excuse me. And then someone asked me to help put it on and produce the
yeah.
fashion show. And then to be able to start doing makeup for people and then
Mm-hmm.
get paid to do makeup for people. So life was evolving. And I was like, oh, okay. So everything I put to the back burner was able to be kind of drummed up again because I was passionate, so passionate about it. I wasn't going to let it go forever. I just needed to put it to the side while I took care of 5 little kids, that I
Every
raised. But I always want that, like, the audience to know that this is your encore. This is my encore presentation.
mm-hmm.
This is my encore right now. I'm back at it again. I'm doing things I love and I'm passionate. There's no age. Yes, you may age out in some pageant systems, but there's no age or limit to your dreams as long as you put, one foot in front of the other. What I'm doing right now with this show is really, I want to be able to broadcast. I say too skilled to fail is because I work on so many different things, and whether it's the podcast where I'm working in HR and working on, doing hair or makeup or doing something
Yes.
totally different than what I'm doing right now, because I could probably build a house if I really had the patience to do it. I really feel like I could do that. I always say that I cannot fly a plane, and I'm not gonna ever put that on my resume. Say I can do anything, but there's so many different things that I know I can do if I just put my foot forward to do it.
Yeah.
Timing is everything. Don't get me wrong. We know this. It is not
Yeah.
always for us. You might have to wait.
Mm-hmm.
But here we are today, and all these years. Now, mind you, I don't know if we even put a date stamp on this. You said 2010. You were doing your chalk art when we met still. So if you're saying 2010, I feel like it was even before. It was so long ago. It
I
was
want to
well
say,
before that. So it was a good 15. It's been some years. Things, and just to see how business and professional you are. I believe you're younger than me. We won't even go there. I already know you are, but
by a
you're
little bit, not by much.
you're younger than I am. And I saw you at someone, I was like, gosh, she is so much where I want to be. And this is how you show up. Didn't know you as a person, but how you show up in the world, in the community, and what you did, and how professional you were all the time and articulate. And this is not just you're a woman of color, you shouldn't be articulate. It was just how well you spoke to what you wanted to do. And it was mainly because you said it with conviction and passion versus you saying it like and saying fancy words. You said things
Yeah.
that you wanted to do with conviction and passion. If you were training me, even if I was probably even 20 years older than you, I feel like you would be able to have a conversation with me, no matter how old and young you were, to have a conversation with me to where I just wanted to listen. I wanted to learn from you, the knowledge base and everything that you had to give me. So I was like, teach me more.
That means a lot to me. I take my responsibilities as a coach and a mentor really seriously. There's a very big level of trust that happens when you establish that kind of relationship with somebody. And, I chosen not to have children. It's something I've known my whole life. That's not my purpose. However, I've raised people my whole life. I have helped people along their journey, and that satisfies me. There's so many people out there that are here now who need guidance or who have a dream or a goal or an idea. And as with anything, especially in film, I just need one yes. I need one person to believe in what I'm trying to do and to hear me out. And if they're showing up and they're they're putting in the time and the effort, and if I'm seeing them take it seriously, I invest in the person, whether it's my time, my energy, my love. It's such a wonderfully rewarding exchange of time and sharing space with somebody and seeing them grow and evolve. So to hear your words, that's better to me than any compensation, right? Because anybody will tell you I could charge way more than I do. I choose not to, because I'm not one paying necessarily mortgage or anything with this. I'm compensating for the time I'm taking to put you into my life, and it should be affordable. I don't think I'm that person where I'm on a certain level where it's like, no, thank you. Like, you can't pay this much. No, thank you. If you're the right person, if we're a good fit, because I don't work with everybody. If you have a filter, you can't and shouldn't work with just anybody. The minute you show me you're not really invested in this, you're not in it for the right reasons. If I can't authentically champion you, I'm not the coach or the mentor for you.
Right. I love how you said champion you. Yes. I love how you said champion you, because one of the things I always say to people, so as you know, I'm between HR, but I also do my coaching. I also am training, a mentor and leading a lot of different projects. I have my nonprofit, but my thing is I started my nonprofit with my daughter. Her passion was homelessness. My passion was education in general. And we were trying to just match the two up together. For me, I really wanted to work with people who were eager to learn, who were looking to change. And there is we won't, I know with the homelessness, there's a lot of people who would like to, but there was another group of subset of people that my passion the connection was there, because I was someone who, because of my circumstances, growing up, my childhood and circumstances, because of me being a teen parent, because of a lot of things that I could have made excuses, I needed support and I needed help. And so I was looking for that. I was looking for someone to help me. What do I need to do? How do I get into college? What type of degree program should I go into? How do I get a loan for my first, because I didn't have anyone to look left or right to help me, front, left, right, up, down in the circle to help me. So I was looking for people. It didn't matter your age. I remember calling my cousin who had just graduated with her bachelor's degree. And I was like, how did you pick a major? I didn't know anything about any of that, because that was never a topic of conversation in my home. And so for her to be able to kind of basically give me the game, and I'm always seeking someone to give me some guidance. And that's okay as well. I think oftentimes when you don't have someone in the home, or you don't have someone there, that could be a crutch or an excuse. There's reasons and there's excuses. I always talk about reasons and excuses, but there's reasons and there's excuses. And I have to ask myself, is this a reason why I'm not doing this, or am I making an excuse for why I'm not doing this? Something I want to do,
that a lot.
Or starting it. This is a reason or an excuse. Well, I live too far. I don't have. Okay. Well, if you can get a loan to go to school, if you can get financing to go to school, to be able to go to school, if you can find someone to watch your kids, would you still go, or would you have another excuse? And so I had to talk my way through a lot of those things, because I made up there was a lot of excuses. I don't have anyone helping. I don't have the support. I'm a single mom. At certain times I was single with the kids pretty much, but I'm a single mom, so can't do it. No, a can't is so not in my vocabulary anymore. I took that out.
Good.
I'm going to figure it out. If there's a will, there's a way. There's all those things that I would definitely do. And for you, there's something that you had said, I wanted to make sure to piggyback on you talking about, it's right there. The light is right there. I'm going to skip it. It's going to come back.
It'll come back. It'll come back.
Because right there. And I was like, oh, hold on to that. Listen to what she's saying though. It's active listening. That's one of the things. I'm trying to be an active listener without holding, because I was like, okay, bank that. And it's gone.
I appreciate that. But it's, I liked what you said about, and when you were talking about seeking knowledge, and I also am a lifelong learner. I think that even when you reach a certain point, whatever hierarchy or level you attain in your career or personal, professional, I want to keep learning. I don't actually want to necessarily master everything, because then you get content, you get complacent, and then you get sloppy. And so even as a coach, I'm always actually in the pageant journey, because of social media and how much content creation there is and the spotlight there is on pageants, there's these coaches that are putting out all of these walking videos, and all these different systems are coming up. And I'm realizing, oh my gosh, we're at that point in pageant history where we're having another shift, where the walking patterns there's more flair, there's more turns, there's more this, there's more that weren't there before. I am a coach. I have girls coming to me watching those same videos, and they're going to expect some sort of, I got to catch up. And so I had to take it upon myself to start studying those videos and giving credit where credit is due. And I have signed up for some studio time to take a full butt in my heels by myself and start practicing some of these things to see if I can do it, if I can teach it, and if I can come up with some stuff on my own. And that is something that was really exciting to experience because I want to keep getting better. The more you learn, the more you can grow, the more effective you can be, not just for yourself, but for the people you're showing up for. And same thing with filmmaking. I will never have all the answers, and that's okay. I'm always learning about the technology. I'm always picking the brain of my crew. I want to understand, not to micromanage, but to understand how to make your job easier for me as a director, and have this beautiful harmony on set where everybody feels safe, everybody feels comfortable voicing their opinion and being collaborative, and where actors aren't afraid of the director or that the director doesn't understand what the actors, but I know what everybody's supposed to do on my set. And if I need to, with the exception of one or two positions, I've done crew positions. If I needed to wear the mantle and pick that up and do a boom operator and do sound mixing, or if I had to, whatever, I have experience enough to get the job done. So I'm never above getting more knowledge and learning from people who are more proficient than me in something. I'm never above asking a question or just saying, hey, I would just love to pick your brain. Because people do it to me all the time. And I know how beneficial that is to them. And I like to do the same thing. Again, practice what you preach. You have to lead by example. And that empathy and being able to say, I know what it's like to a certain degree to be in your shoes because I have attempted it. You can have it. And I love you for it because I can delegate that to you and I don't have to worry about it. That completely changes the dynamic of the people that you work with, and they will bend over backwards. It doesn't take a lot to show somebody that you're being considerate of them and their time and their talents, and they clock that so quickly.
Absolutely.
So it's not rocket science. And I think that's one of my main goals, is to influence a shift in the film industry, TV film overall, where I have no problem sharing. I don't have secrets. Like, I'll tell you exactly how I conceptualize story. I'll tell you how I put together my team. I'll tell you the factors that go into who I want to work with versus who I probably wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole, even if they have accolades. I have no problem sharing those things because that only serves to replicate the results that so far, knock on wood, have not failed me yet. So when that gets replicated, that creates change. That creates a shift where people go, I've seen it with my own two eyes, that we don't have to do it the same old tired, broken way anymore. We can get things done and still tell really great stories and not have to bow to people who have no idea what we're doing on the ground because all they do is stay in an office and judge everything all day. I don't have to subscribe to that culture.
The beauty of doing it yourself. It's the beauty of also doing it yourself. And if you are the business, one of the things you said at the top of this meeting was you were at this meeting, Sam, in HR mode. For our interview, what the thing you said was you are a business. You are the business. And so really you're designing it the way you want it. Have it your way. Do the business the way you want to. Take some things from around that you get to know, listen to your crew and listen to people around, but really ultimately what you're passionate about and what you want to be able to deliver to your audience. Yes. That's the same thing I wanted to do with my show. I actually had someone ask me if I wanted to host their show. It was a paid gig too, to be a host of a show. Okay. But I've always had in my mind, which was like, I should have jumped in my mind. At first I was like, I was going to get paid to do that, but it's not my show. It's not what the producer would have had it the way they wanted to do it. For me, I wanted to be able to screen and have people on the show that I wanted to bring on the show. I wanted to be able to film and put out shows as much as I wanted to put things out. I felt like I would have been signing up for another job versus doing what I feel passionate about doing, which is having conversations with people that I know or the extensions of those who I know by way of referral that will give the real true to heart stories that will have. I think the best stories are when it's a referral from someone.
Absolutely.
And not someone saying, hey, I have this person read this dialogue. I have to learn about your bio. I meet no strangers. I say that all the time. I travel the world to meet people. I probably never, I'm going to knock on wood myself. I don't think I'll ever have to have someone send me or pay someone to send me guests. Right. That's just, and maybe I'm being too gutsy by saying that, but it's because I talk to people, I get to know them, I'm interested about their story, and then turned around, they're actually interested to get to know me a little bit more. I'm like, oh, great, this works out then. If you want to know me, I want to know you. Let's sit and talk and let's record it. And that's what we're doing today.
Exactly.
If you don't mind, we'll record it. Maybe it's a nugget or two or 20. You've probably given 25, 30 nuggets already in the time we've been talking about a nugget that you can actually take with for your kind of life perspective? Because I feel like for you, the topics we're talking about, having people wanting to be in pageantry, or having people being an artist or an entrepreneur in general, or having people who have multi talents, which is what we've had a topic that was called multi-talent mindset. Having people that have that multi-talented mindset, and they're not stifled by someone saying you should only stick to one thing and you'll get good at it. You know, these conversations, you probably have heard this
Too many. Too many times I get
doing so
asked,
much.
you could pick just one. First of all, why is that an option to ask me? Like, why? I mean, I get the general curiosity, but it's like, I'm multi-hyphenate for a reason. I think if I was that obsessed with one lane, I'd be in that lane and I'd be fine. But I don't have to pick just one. I am living proof that you can juggle. If something's busy in this area, then this one's not going to do so much, and this gets slow and it gets busy in this area. It completely balances out. I don't feel compelled to have to pick a lane or a hat. I love writing. I love directing. I love editing. I love acting. I love all these things, and I do them all fairly consistently well. So there's no situation where I feel I need to make a plan to pick one or the other. So I don't. So when people ask me that question, and it bless their heart, I try not to take it out of them, because that question irks me. It does. But, I kind of pause and it's like, have my come to Jesus moment. And I say, I really don't feel the need to have to choose. And I love that. That's what makes this worth waking up every day, is because we are born into limitations from the jump that we did not ask for. So I found a loophole where I don't necessarily have to live by those standards. So why would I even entertain the thought of trying to appease that?
Is that the divergence? What do they call the in the not Game of Thrones? What is I'm saying the divergence versus Dauntless, and it's right there. Someone in the audience is like, the show is.
Someone's going to leave a comment, and then we're going to see it, and then we'll do an episode.
That's going to come to me right after this show right now, because I just actually watched it. The factions, they were talking about factions. So that's just having someone to where you get put into these different factions, or actually different subsets or groups of where you're supposed to be. You are when you grow as a kid. We were asked, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Timmy, Tanisha, Johnny, Dania. I want to be, and I could be honest with you, I never had a straight answer that I would stick to. I would say what I thought the adults that asked me would think I should say, that sound mature. And by the time I was about 11 or 12, I start saying I wanted to be a psychologist. And then someone then asked me later, they were like, oh, interesting. Then someone asked me when I got a little older, maybe 13 or 14, what type of psychologist? Oh my gosh, I don't know, because I never really looked into it. And then they were like, well, there's child psychology. I was like, that's it. Yes, to work with children, child psychology. I never in my life want to really be a child psychologist. Do I like speaking to people? Do I like coaching? Do I like mentoring? Would I want to be a mentor to a child? Yes. Sure. But I never really had that real dream. And I was selling it out there because the types of people always said I was like an old soul. I was like one of those kids where, yes, you want to kick me out the room because I'm the only kid in the room. But I felt like I didn't get, the kids had really boring and very kid-like conversations. And you adults you were talking my language pretty much. I understand what you're saying. So I wanted to stay in those rooms. And that's when I would get those questions. What do you want to be when you grow up? Well, cross my legs. I would like to be a child psychologist. I was like confident at this point. Child psychologist when I get up. Yes. Yeah. Never a day. I did do some psychology classes because, again, it was just something that I had lied to myself in the world for so long that I was just like, well, I guess that's what I should try to do now that I'm venturing off into college and I have a little bit of HR behind me and it makes sense. So I did some psychology classes, but
it wasn't for you.
No. I'm too much of a free spirit, and I want to do so many different things and want to go so many different places. Like the box in which other people want to put me in, I'm like going to step over it. I'm going to go around the box and be like, well, that box will be there. I'm going to keep going. Okay. I'm going to be gone.
Outside of the box.
Absolutely.
All the time. Yeah. I wouldn't change it for anything.
You have so much looking forward. I mean, I'm sure you're working on projects. So I'd love to hear about what projects you're working on in the interest of time, because I know I don't have all that much time left with you. But what are you currently working on? How can people find you and the projects you're working on?
Yeah. So I'll speak to the latter one first. I'm very Googleable. That's the thing, guys. It's all about branding. Don't make it so difficult to find people and for people to find you. Google Dania, Dania, Denise, Denise, MSE. That is my handle for Instagram or Facebook, Twitter. I will never call it X. LinkedIn. I do have my legal name, which is Malette, Mallette, which is tied to my art business, because you also, again, branding keeps certain things separated by industry. But on LinkedIn, you'll find me under that too. So super consistent. YouTube, Dania Denise, you will find me. My email is on there. My websites are on there for the coaching, for the entertainment, for the production company. I have separate entities for all of them. So depending on how you want to collaborate, what you want to pick my brain about, I promise you, you'll find the right niche. And then as far as projects, I just got off of co-directing a feature called Disciples of a Craftsman. And that was a fantastically rewarding experience. I started off as the acting coach, and the writer, main director, HT, said, would you want to get promoted and be the co-director and kind of be in charge of the actors and performance? That way I can focus on the story. And then the DP, Claire Evans, she's, co-director, and she's in charge. And it was just, we shared a brain by the end of it. We shot for about 2.5 weeks. And that's going to come out next year. We do have some reshoots and pickups. So I get to reunite with everybody at the end of July, which I'm actually looking forward to, because I wasn't ready to say goodbye to them all yet. In the meantime, I'm always on the search for investors, people who want, executive producing credits, who want to really invest in a story that has a lot of heart. And that is my project. You were just here. We've filmed 10 minutes of principal photography. So we have 10 minutes of footage that's beautifully shot and edited. And we got to raise the rest of the funds to put the team to work to tell the rest of the story. And I would love to do limited theatrical release and then eventually find a home for it on a streaming platform. So my cast and crew is ready to go. We're waiting for the green light on that. And other than that, I'm open for directing jobs, writing jobs. I've got my queens that I'm coaching year round. I've got probably 5 or 6 queens right now that I'm getting ready for their respective state and regional competitions. So I'm always in my heels, no matter what, and continuing to be in front of the camera too. Because whenever I direct, I get an itch and I go, oh, I want to start submitting stuff. I want to be in this. So
yes,
I'm not picking just one lane. I'm everywhere. So, I'm just on brand.
That's amazing. So one of the things I always say, find your people. When I got to meet you, I felt like I found my people, because there's other people out there like me who just want to kind of do everything. Do we have to be reined in every once in a while? Yes. A little bit. But and that's what I found with other people like me. We have to rein ourselves in, but it really comes down to something about it. And I know you probably can attest to this as well. I can put something to the side, and it was because it's, just like a writer gets writer's block. I'm like, I'm going to put this over here. But when I pick it back up, it's going to go like that to get done. Do you feel, does that happen to you? Like it'll be something. Yes.
And the timing will be perfect too. Because even if I have the itch to work on it, if I'm not there, if I'm staring at the page, literally I'm writing a novel, and I'm literally in the middle of writing a chapter a day when I get a chance to. And the minute my brain just goes numb, I can't force it, and I put it away and I pivot and I go, I remember this one now. And then I'm off. So you take that creative energy and you channel it into the right projects. And that way you remain consistent. I won't start a project from beginning to end and force myself to finish it if I don't have to. If it's not there, you pivot, you put it on the back burner, you come back to it. And then everything is more authentic. It's real, it's honest. And you put out your best work when you're in the moment, in the zone. Never force it. Don't fake it till you make it. Not with creativity. It will show every single time.
Yes. If you didn't leave us with a last minute nugget, you left us with a great one. Let's put it there, because that's what we need here. Too skilled to fail. I always ask, and I'd love to ask you this question. Too skilled to fail to me is one thing, but it could mean so much to other people. But I'm honestly getting this consistency. So I'm interested to seeing. I've been doing this for now a little bit over 7 months. So I would love to hear what too skilled to fail means to you.
I think too skilled to fail for me means that I know my worth. I know my capabilities. I know what I bring to the table. And when you have that instilled initiative and self-confidence, it's not even about failing. It's about how can I be the best version of myself and show up for everyone, but also show up more importantly for myself. And when you lead with that, when you invest in yourself, when you believe in yourself, it doesn't matter what happens. It happens the way it's supposed to, because you were in charge of how that manifested to a certain degree. Some stuff you just got to let go, but it's okay to let go and lean until it makes you uncomfortable. So know thyself. Everything else works exactly the way it's supposed to. What is for you will not pass by you. And in that sense, you can't fail.
All right. That's it. And that's all. Thank you so much, Dania, for being on the show. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Please like, subscribe, and check your girl out on all her platforms. We'll make sure they are provided here. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you. Much love.